In the last 2 chapters of The Red Cloth, a strange laugh echoed through the night. Whose laughter it was, or what it belonged to, no one could tell. Tan Kam and Ka Luong thought the nightmare was over, until they stepped into the hospital, where the chill in the air and the smell of disinfectant seeped deep into their bones. There, the people who seemed alive carried in their eyes a hollow emptiness. From that laughter in the dark to the fateful hospital visit, every sign pointed to one thing: someone or something is beginning to awaken. Welcome back to The Red Cloth. These are the next 2 chapters, where the truth starts to surface from shattered dreams, and that laughter, perhaps, has never truly stopped. Part 5, The One Who Awoke in the Dark. Chapter 11, The Seance. The small tailor shop sat at the very end of a narrow alley, the air thick with the scent of old fabric and chalk dust. On the floor, scraps of cloth lay scattered like dead butterfly wings, piled upon one another beneath a thin film of dust. In the corner of the room rested a dark wooden coffin, placed temporarily on a few makeshift planks, a sight both mournful and out of place. Tan Kam sat against the wall, her eyes vacant. Ka Luong stood nearby, silent, so silent that it became unnerving. It was precisely that silence which told her everything. He wasn't some spiritual expert as he had claimed, just another unfortunate soul dragged into this mess by bad luck. Yet deep down, she couldn't bring herself to lose hope completely. "What should we do now?" she asked softly. Ka Luong closed his eyes, his voice rough and low. "There's only one thing left we can try. The dead. What else can we possibly do?" He opened his eyes, staring at her. "If she's already a spirit, then we'll summon her. Ask her directly. Maybe then we'll know the truth." A faint glimmer flickered in her eyes. Sounded absurd, but at least it was a sliver of hope. The only question was, how to summon a spirit. Ka Luong scratched his head, pretending to sound knowledgeable. "Well, light some candles, perform a little ritual, be sincere. That's how it works, right?" Tan Kam didn't even need to answer to see through him. He was just as clueless as she was. Instead of arguing, she quietly opened her old laptop, connected to the internet, and searched the spiritual forums. Dozens of posts appeared, full of half-believed, half-feared stories. She skimmed through, jotting down a few notes. 1. Hour of summoning, exactly midnight. 2. A mirror must be present. 3. Complete sincerity is required. That's it, she thought. So simple, it's terrifying. She turned back to him. "You should go home, Ka Luong. This is too dangerous. You don't need to be involved." He frowned, surprised. "Why would you? You've never seen The Red Cloth. You won't be haunted. Don't die for a job that's already cursed. I can handle this myself." Her voice was calm, but sorrow flickered behind her eyes. Ka Luong lowered his head, saying nothing. She looked at him, gave a faint, weary smile, then said quietly, "Look at this." The black cat, Hei Bao, lifted its head. Its eyes gleamed with an eerie pink light. In those eyes, 2 figures were reflected, an old tailor and beside him, an elderly woman with silver hair, her kind face pale and misty like smoke. Ka Luong froze. His face turned ashen, sweat pouring down his temples. "See," Tan Kam whispered. "She hasn't gone far." She handed the frightened man some money, then, holding Hak Bao close, stepped into the inner prayer room. The darkness inside was suffocating. Outside, faint funeral chants echoed through the night. The smell of incense mingled with the damp, heavy air, making her chest tighten. Inside the small room, she found a dusty dressing table. The mirror upon it was mottled and clouded, like a still pond, waiting to ripple at the slightest touch. She sat down on the stool, the very seat where the old woman once sat every day. Her trembling hand lifted the old comb that Kai had found. A few strands of gray hair still clung to its teeth. Tan Kam gripped it tightly, memories flooding back. Her childhood with her grandmother, the laughter, the simple meals, and the tragedy that had taken everything away. If she were to die now, would anyone even remember her? She sighed and glanced at He Bao sleeping in her lap. Outside, the luminous hands of the clock crept closer to 12. She took out 2 scented candles, placing one before the door, the other before the mirror. The flames flickered, fragile as a dying breath. Taking a deep breath, she loosened her hair and began to comb it in front of the mirror. Each stroke of the comb made a faint rasping sound. With every movement, she felt the distinct sensation that someone was standing behind her. He Bao suddenly arched its back, fur bristling, eyes blazing. Outside, there came a sound, footsteps dragging slowly across the floor, shuffling slippers, heavy and deliberate, approaching the door. The smell of burnt paper and cold ashes seeped through the cracks. Tan Kem turned her head sharply. In the mirror stood a figure, thin, frail, head wrapped in a white mourning cloth. The old woman. She had no eyes. Her wrinkled face twitched, her jaw working as though chewing on something unseen. A hoarse, broken voice drifted through the air. "Give it back." Tan Kem swallowed hard, forcing herself to speak. "Grandma, what is the red cloth? How do I stop all this?" The old woman didn't answer. She only repeated, closer this time, "Give it back." She stepped nearer, a wooden, skeletal hand reaching out from behind Tan Kem's shoulder. Then suddenly, her face changed, twisted with pure terror. She screamed a single word, "Say bang," and vanished, like smoke sucked back into the mirror. Silence fell. Tan Kem barely had time to think before she realized. The reflection in the mirror had changed. The woman staring back wasn't her anymore. It was another girl, young, beautiful, with long black hair and red lips, smiling faintly. She held the same old comb, gazing straight into Tan Kem's eyes. Then she stopped smiling. With the comb, she gouged out her own eyes. Tan Kem screamed and stumbled backward. The cracking sound was sharp and dry. Blood sprayed across the mirror in a long crimson streak. The mirror shuddered and splintered. From the cracks, fresh blood began to ooze, dripping heavily onto the floor. The metallic scent filled the room. The fractures widened. Hak Bao leapt from the table into Tan Kem's arms, hissing, urging her to flee. As she turned to run, something seized her ankle, binding her in place. She fell hard, scrambling backward toward the door. Her gaze stayed locked on the mirror, and then, from the fractures, 2 eyeballs rolled out, landing right beside her hand. Under the candlelight, their pupils stared directly at her. Hak Bao hissed wildly, jumping at the eyes as if to shield her from their gaze. Then, a hand, pale, thin, and cold, reached out from within the mirror. Another followed, then a head, wet hair clinging, skin ghostly white, lips purple. For reasons she couldn't explain, a sudden surge of strength rushed through her. Tan Kem grabbed Hak Bao and bolted. The hallway stretched before her like the mouth of a well, black and endless. Her footsteps mixed with faint, hollow moans behind her. At the end of the corridor, someone was standing. The candlelight flickered, revealing the face. Lam Kai, but she wasn't alive. Her face was deathly pale, lips blue, smiling in that twisted, unnatural way. Tan Kem screamed, spinning around, heart pounding violently. Every door she opened revealed another mirror, each one dripping with blood. The house had become a labyrinth, and she, a small, terrified prey surrounded by starving spirits. She stumbled and fell, Hak Bao crying out in anguish. Then, from the shadows ahead, a figure lunged forward and wrapped its arms around her. She felt a heartbeat warm against her chest. Then everything dissolved into darkness. Chapter 12, The Grave Digging. Like, share and subscribe so I have more motivation. Tan Kem opened her eyes wide. Her whole body ached as if crushed. Her eyelids were heavy, breath shallow. As her vision cleared, the first thing she saw was Ka Luong's anxious face leaning close. "Thank God, you're awake. You've been unconscious for a long time." Beside her, the black cat Hak Bao let out a low meow, as if relieved to see its mistress alive. Tan Kem slowly sat up, her voice hoarse. "Have they buried Mr. Ho's mother yet?" Ka Luong nodded. Her gaze dimmed. She knew what that meant. The chance to summon the old woman's spirit was gone. Once the dead returned to the earth, they should not be disturbed. Then, "It was you who saved me?" "No. When I heard Hak Bao crying so miserably, I got worried and went back. When I arrived, you were already unconscious on the steps." Tan Kam fell silent. Then who had saved her from the female ghost? She could still remember that warm touch on her back, the feeling of a hand pulling her away from death. A human being or something else? On their way back to the city, neither spoke. They just stared out the window, watching the dark forest slide away behind them. The air in the car felt heavy as lead. As they neared downtown, Ka Luong suddenly muttered, "Someone's following us." Through the rearview mirror, Tan Kam saw two black sedans speeding behind them, headlights flashing wildly. Her heart pounded. Before she could react, the cars overtook them and forced their vehicle to the side of the road. Ka Luong slammed the brakes, leapt out of the car to escape. But whoosh, a shadow lunged at him. Something hard struck his head, and he fell to the ground, clutching it in pain. Tan Kam hurried out to help him, and froze. Standing before her was a strikingly beautiful woman in her 40s, elegant yet cold as marble. Her weapon was a bright red high heel. Ka Luong groaned. "Mother! You still dare call me mother?" she roared. "You've skipped work for days, haven't you? The moment your father leaves for a business trip, you run off playing ghost hunter and even hit my bodyguard. You useless, spoiled brat." Her voice cracked like thunder. Tan Kam stood dumbfounded. Mother? This fierce, gorgeous woman was his mother? A nearby assistant stepped up, handing the woman a phone. She instantly switched to a calm, dignified tone. "Hello, this is Nap Lon Tin, wife of the chairman of Phi Hong Corporation. Yes, the board meeting will be held this afternoon as scheduled." Phi Hong? That was the largest financial group in the city. Tan Kam stared blankly. So this ridiculous exorcist was actually a rich heir? Ka Luong looked like he wanted to vanish into thin air. Nap Lon Tin snapped her phone shut. "You'd better come home tonight, or you'll regret it." Before leaving, she turned to Tan Kam, eyes sharp as blades scanning from head to toe. A faint smile touched her lips. "Not bad. You're the first woman who dared push me and still lives. Be my daughter-in-law." And with that, she strode off, leaving the two of them frozen amid a curious crowd. Back in the car, silence. At last, Tan Kam said coldly, "You lied to me. I told you. Ghost hunting is just my side job." "Side job? You can't even see ghosts. You think tricking people like this is funny?" Her tone cut like ice. Ka Luong bit his lip, said nothing, then suddenly turned the wheel onto a narrow, winding road. The city lights faded. Only sparse woods and moaning wind remained. "Where are you taking me?" "To meet someone." Eventually, the car stopped before an old hillside cemetery. Wind swept through rows of tombstones, rustling the grass like waves. "Don't tell me you," she began, but he was already walking ahead. He stopped before a large grave marked Ka Dao. The engraved portrait showed an old man with a white beard, smiling gently but with stern eyes. "Your grandfather?" "Yeah, he was a famous Taoist exorcist. I grew up with him, admired him so much, but my father wanted me to be a businessman. When Grandpa died, Dad buried all his manuals with him. I had no choice but to follow the family business. I've hated it ever since." He smiled bitterly. His eyes glistened. "I just wanted to be like him. A true exorcist helping people. Meeting you, I thought I could finally do something good. But now I see, I'm useless." Tan Kam felt a pang of sympathy. She touched his shoulder gently. He turned away and disappeared into the dark. Moments later, he returned, carrying 2 shovels. "What are you going to do?" "Dig up my grandfather's grave." "What? Are you insane?" "No. My father buried his exorcism books with him. If we retrieve them, maybe we can learn something." She stared at him, half in disbelief, half pity. But his determination was unwavering. She sighed, whispered a short prayer, and began to dig with him. The earth was dense, cold, and smelled of decay. Moonlight hung pale above as sweat drenched them both. Finally, the shovel hit wood. Thud. The coffin creaked open, and two wide eyes stared back at them from the darkness. Tan Kem gasped, stumbling backward. Inside lay the body of old Ka Dao, perfectly preserved, smiling faintly as if merely asleep. "He hasn't decayed," she whispered. "Grandpa," Ka Luong's voice trembled. He touched the icy wrist, then noticed a bronze earring shaped with twin dragons. "I remember this. Grandpa always wore it. My favorite trinket." He gently removed it. The moment he did, a fierce wind howled through the graveyard, snuffing out their torch. Hak Bao shrieked and leapt into Tan Kam's arms. "Run!" Ka Luong shouted. They fled blindly, stumbling and falling over the damp soil. Something hissed behind them, like the breath of the dead. They jumped into the car, slammed the doors, and sped off into the night. But Hak Bao kept yowling toward the back seat. Then click. The rear door swung open, then slammed shut again. No one had entered, yet both of them felt it, a presence sitting right behind them. Neither dared speak. Ka Luong turned on the radio, desperate for distraction. But what came through was the sound of a child crying. Tan Kam quickly switched it off. The crying didn't stop. It echoed inside the car, soft and haunting. No matter how far they drove, they couldn't reach the main road. Hak Bao jumped onto the back seat, hissing. The cries turned to low moans. Just as Ka Luong pressed the gas harder, a shadow appeared in front of the car. He slammed the brakes. Tires screeched. The car skidded sideways, stopping just short of a cliff. They panted in terror. If they had been 1 second late, they'd be dead. But here, in the middle of a mountain road, no living person could possibly appear. Tan Kem turned to speak, and froze, her face drained of color. "Ka Luong, behind you." He looked. Outside the car window stood a man, identical to him in every detail, like his reflection come to life. Both sat frozen. The door slowly creaked open. The double climbed in calmly. Hak Bao leapt to the front seat, curling into Ka Luong's arms. "You two are brave," the man said evenly. "If I hadn't arrived, you'd be ghosts by now." "Who are you?" Ka Luong stammered. "I am your grandfather." "Oh, sure. Maybe my ancestor too?" Ka Luong shot back. Smack! The man flicked him lightly on the head. "Watch your mouth. You stole my earring, woke me up, and nearly got yourselves killed by the evil spirits luring you here. Be grateful I came." Tan Kam blinked. "You're really his grandfather? But why do you look so young?" "Well, I'm a spirit now. You expect me to keep my old wrinkled face? I'd rather look dashing, don't you think?" Tan Kam almost laughed. "Fair enough." He studied her face intently. Then suddenly his expression shifted. "My junior sister?" he whispered. Before they could react, he vanished, dissolving into the air like mist. The car fell silent. The night wind slipped through the cracks, cold and damp. Ka Luong and Tan Kam looked at each other, uncertain whether what had just happened was dream or reality. They started the engine again. The road home, once endless, now seemed strangely short. And so, the night closes once again, but the story is far from over. In the next part, an old, forgotten book will uncover clues long buried, and the cassette tape, sounds once harmless, will begin to whisper things no human dares to hear. Prepare yourself, for each chapter will draw us closer to the truth. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so you won't miss the next episodes. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.